Hey everyone, Frugal Panda here with a review and visit to Eureka, California. I almost said Eureka, Colorado. Anyway, it's Eureka, California. This is going to be an October time frame, early October time frame of 2024. Eureka is a port city in Northern California. This was one of my first stops. I had driven all night. I left after I got off of work on like a Wednesday and drove straight through. I did stop in Tahoe. I'll put a little video together of me checking out Tahoe from the California side. And I loved it. I got to go back to Tahoe and check out that area during another trip. Anyway, so I went a different way this way. I planned to go to Oregon and Washington as well, but I did not take my usual way through the Oregon Badlands. I wanted to come through Tahoe and come through part of Northern California that I haven't seen before. Eureka is pretty cool in that it was really nice here. Lots to do. So with this stay right here, like I said, this is my first stop. I only planned to stay here one night, and I stayed at the Bay Inn and Suites located near, I guess around downtown, right off the 101. There'll be some pictures of where I stayed. How was it staying here? It was fine. It was around $100 to stay here. I wasn't expecting it to be super great or anything like that. That might be a little bit of it somewhere in there. So I got there late, not necessarily late, but later afternoon. So it had been beautiful and sunny my whole drive through. Of course, by the time I get here, it starts kind of clouding up a little bit because it's on the ocean, or a bay or whatever. Humboldt Bay. Beautiful, but I was like, nope, can't. Even though I'm tired, I took a shower. I said, let's go out and get a little bit of footage and walk around. I did not get a bite to eat because you'll see one of my other videos where I stayed in Redding, I stopped in Redding before I got here. I got a bite to eat and checked out the town and walked around a little bit. So I wasn't really that hungry. I might have got a snack. I walked around. One of the things that you will see is some beautiful architecture. And of course, I was not too far. It was probably 2 streets. Bay Inn is probably about 2 streets from the actual bay itself. And there's a little trail that you can walk along that bay. Word of warning is with Eureka, and I found this with most Northern California port cities that I've been to, are ocean water cities on the ocean and bays and stuff. There are so many homeless people. They were everywhere in Eureka, and you see a large population, a large police presence here too. There's no feelings of being unsafe, nothing like that. I'd walk past them. There's a group of them like talking and having some weird argument. No one even begged me for any money, anything like that. So it was none of that. But also that's, I said, that's coming from a male, so it might be a different interaction. But I did see a couple women out there walking too, and it didn't seem like they were bothering them either. So I don't want to make this whole video about the homeless population in Eureka, but I'm not going to be here and sugarcoat it because someone else will get on my video and say, oh, you didn't show any homeless people. Yes, there is quite a few of them. And some of my shots, I couldn't help but get them in my videos. I try not to because I don't want to exploit the poor, but I'm going to be honest with you. Eureka, a lot of these places, I love them. I love visiting them. I thought they were awesome. I thought they were beautiful, but they're set up in a manner that a lot of people, if you are homeless, just like regular people, they're going to come to these areas. The weather is more mild in comparison to other parts of the country. Some people will tell me, oh, well, we don't have homeless where we're at. I'm like, dude, you live in a part of Idaho, and this is not all Idaho, but this is an example. You live in a part of Idaho where you really have no waterways, you really have nothing, your winters are harsh, your population is declining. Homeless people are not coming there either. So, it's a different story. Now in these areas like Eureka and all this, beautiful areas. You got the island of Samoa. You got all these different, Americans, not American Samoa, but it's called Samoa. But you have all these different waterways. People are a little bit on the more quirky. Some people are hippie-ish, different vibes. There's also conservative people. It's a different mixture of people up in Northern California. And I'm not saying any of this to be negative. This is not to say I'm not saying it to be negative in that manner. But I'm going to tell you, if you go to these areas, there will be homeless populations. Now, depending on the cities and their support of social services and their law enforcement, it will be drastically different depending. So some cities are really nice, and a lot of these cities that are really nice and really want to be helpful, I'll be honest with you, super helpful, they're some of the crappiest places to visit because they're so inundated with folks. Word gets around, they all come from all over, and it really ruins a lot of their cities. Eureka's not there yet, but Eureka has the potential. What saves Eureka is, one, they're on the water, but two, their downtown is still really cute, but they do have a lot of homeless people. I'll compare it in a way to Eugene, Oregon. I love going to Eugene, Oregon and stuff. I actually did not go there on this visit because I went a different way. But one thing I noticed is when you actually got up early, you get to see what the city is about, a small city. If I didn't say yet, Eureka is a city of about 26,000 people. It grew quite a little bit during COVID as people started doing more remote work, and they wanted areas to raise their kids and things like that. We're smaller towns, smaller cities, but still cities. So is this a place to raise your children, have a family? I'd say yes in comparison to other places you could go. Is it a better place to raise your child than, say, Denver, Colorado, in the area, not necessarily where I live, but in the city of Denver, Colorado? I say, oh yeah. There's still a lot of things they can do and stuff. But you want to get an idea of what a city is really about and what the undercurrent of that city is. Go downtown early, before they've cleared out all the folks they don't want you to see. Then you'll get a good idea of what this town is about. And Eureka is just like Eugene and some of the other places I've been in regards to. Go down early, guess what you find? Tons of them, everywhere, laying on the sidewalks, just waking up, getting their day started. And then they disappear a lot of times out, to wherever they push them out to during the day, into like homeless services and stuff. But during the day, it's not necessarily that. During the morning, excuse me. So as you can see in the video, I'm actually walking around at dusk. By the time I got back to the actual hotel, it was dark. So I'm just walking around, checking out the place. One thing about I think it was called the Bays Inn, or the Bay Inn and Suites, or Bayside Inn. And so I got it off of Orbitz, is that your cars are behind a gate. So I was glad for that. So because I was on the second floor, I did not have to actually bring my e-bike up. And I had an e-bike and a scooter with me. The only thing I brought up was my scooter, because the thought was, well, if someone did break into it, it's really hard, one, to take my e-bike because it's also chained in the car. If you do get in there, and then getting it out, how it's chained is really weird. You'd probably throw your back out, to be honest with you. This is the next day. So now I'm driving, and I've noticed with a lot of the Bay, remember, I'm not from the Bay areas or anything like that. So in the mornings, a lot of times what you see, there was dew. There might have been a little bit of sprinkling of rain. By the time I would get to my next destination, it'd be nice and sunny, it'd still be a little bit like that, but then it would ultimately start burning off as I start heading towards Oregon. But before I go, I wanted to drive around, and I also wanted to check out what was going on in the area and do a walk. So I drove around a little bit. I walked around quite a bit the day before because I sat so long in the car, and I did not take the electric Nissan Ariya. Forget EVs for that. It's too much a hassle. I don't care, Tesla, whatever. They're all a hassle. I ended up jumping in the Nissan Kicks, took out the back seat so I had way more room, threw all my stuff in there and rolled out with it, and saved a bunch of money and time. Time is most important. This was me driving around in it. Got my bikes in here. I've already checked out of the hotel or the motel. So now I'm looking for a place to get coffee. So I stopped at a little spot to get coffee here in Eureka. So I sat down, I watched. It's a trip. How people become oblivious to the homeless populations in the area. So I'm sitting looking out the window. I'm like, this is such a cute town. But then I'm curious what these homeless group is having this argument over, and other people around me are just oblivious. They're here having a little coffee like these people don't exist, and I'm like, wow, it's a trip. Don't think I'm knocking Eureka in that manner, that Eureka sucks or anything like that. No, I'm not saying that. Would I come back to Eureka? Oh, most definitely. There's so much to do in this area that I didn't get to do, and I wasn't interested in doing on this visit. I was mostly interested in kind of scouting, thinking of military, the army. I'm scouting areas for future reference to come back to check out a little more in depth. So this was just a stop along the way for me to check out and see if would I would like to come back in this area and visit and check it out and spend a few days here and stuff. And yes, I would. Is Eureka a place I'd live? No, it isn't. I wouldn't at this point live in Eureka just because they're inundated with homeless, and doesn't sound like they have a plan of dealing with it. If they did, this would be such an awesome city. And it's not a bad city, but they got to get their stuff together. I'm talking about their leaders and stuff like this, and have some real good conversation about how they're going to deal with the drugs and all that stuff. But because beyond that, Eureka is a beautiful city. Their downtown is so cute and so awesome. If I wasn't on a mission, I was going to pull out my scooter and ride around, and I actually would when I made it to Arcata, which I like Arcata even more. Arcata was even cooler. But would I come back and visit? Yes, I would. I hope by that time things have gotten a little bit better. I've seen, especially with COVID and pre and post COVID with things, I would keep visiting them. Some cities would get worse and some cities would get better. I would see that with both of them. Yeah. So this is Eureka. I thought it was great to go visit, to walk around. I love water. You watch my videos, I tell you, I love to be around the water. I love the vibe of people around the water. Yeah. Here's my thing, though. If I was homeless in this area, like I was walking, I at first didn't notice this guy. He had a whole setup on like one of these little things, these outcroppings. And I didn't notice him at first. He has shelter and everything there. He's a homeless cat. And I walked past him, and this would be my greatest fear. Sleeping out here near the water in the bay, and like a sea lion biting me or something in the middle of the night. You know what I mean? Something like that. Because I saw some sea lions or something like floating around, and I'm like, and there was this dude. I'm like, dude, I don't know if I could sleep right there in a tent, or in someone weren't in tents. Cause I'm like, man, what if one of them came and just nip me or something? They got all types of, their mouths are filled with all types of bacteria from the ocean. So here I am. I'm walking around. As you know, they have a sequoia park in this area. It's one of the smallest zoos in California, but it's supposed to be really cool with red pandas and primates and stuff like that. You can take a ferry, sightsee. They're known for birds in the Humboldt Bay. I'm going to tell you, I'm to Arcata, and same as here, I know they have some really cool trails. I actually saw a really cool trail in Arcata to ride my bike. And as I'm coming, like I said, as I'm coming through Northern California, I'm not trying to stop. I only stop for the night because I've driven all night, and I just want to stop here and check it out and just get a quick view of it and put a bookmark on it to come back and check out further later on. Preferably not by myself, but taking my wife with me too. They have Victorian houses in the old town, as you saw earlier in the video. And like I said, this is just me walking around, checking out the air in this area. It was so good. Driving in though from Redding, oh my God, all those twists and turns coming, and I'm like, man, it seems like we're high up. And then I would look, I'd ask my phone, like, what elevation we're at? You were at 200 feet. And I'm like, man, we've been going downhill forever. We're at 200 feet, still going downhill. And you started at like maybe 1,000, maybe 1,200. I'm like, oh my God, this is not Colorado. I've forgotten being in California that elevation levels are totally different, So yeah. So anyway, I made it in here from Redding. I still had a great time. Little did I know I was actually starting to get sick. I might have started feeling sick here. I had like a head cold or something, so I started getting a little lethargic. And I would get hit with being sick during my trip here and cut it a little short, but I still had an awesome time. And it wasn't here that I really was feeling sick. I was just walking around and stuff. And what I ended up ultimately doing, so I could enjoy a couple more days after I did get sick, I loaded up on medication and got out there. I did not drive 1,200 miles or 1,400 or whatever I drove to sit in a hotel room. Look at downtown. This is during the day. Now, if you walk around here during the day, I can guarantee you, once everybody's woken up, you will not see probably any homeless people or something. The police have came along. Hey, y'all move on. They have some place they send them to. So that's just common sense. I've seen that with most cities. I know people may get on here and say, well, Eureka's changed, is this and that. Yes, it's changed. I'm sure it has. All cities change. Some for good, some for bad. Sometimes they take a reality check to change back. Is Eureka perfect? No, it's not. Is it a place I'd visit again? Oh, guaranteed. Did I like their downtown? Yes. Do I think it's got good people here? Guaranteed. It's just how it is. There's things that cities have to work on, especially if you're located in great places. And Eureka is in a great spot. It's on the water, cute historic downtown. I saw lots of little kids. Now downtown at night, if you weren't used to being in you weren't used to the streets, a hood, or like kind of sketchy areas, it definitely could be alarming to you. And also maybe how you look and things like that. And people, everyone knows, yourself. Did I have any problems? No. Did someone come up pestering me? No. But what if I was a 50-year-old, or not even 50-year-old, a 25-year-old woman who's 5'2"? Could it have been a different interaction? There's a possibility. But one thing I did see in downtown Eureka at night, I saw them cops rolling. They were rolling all around there. So that was not a surprise to see them. So they aren't playing either. Gas here was outrageous. It wasn't as bad as I saw. I've seen in other parts of California, but it was still pretty bad. Here's a hack that I found in Northern California. I got gas here, but I didn't fill up. I only put $10 in or so, just enough to maybe get me somewhere, because I'm basically trying to make it to the Oregon border without spending any more on gas in California. But then I started finding out the casinos, Indian casinos. I get getting gas in California at two different locations. One for $3.72 a gallon, which is cheap for California, and one for like $3.60 something a gallon. And you got to remind yourself with California, it's not just the gas is high because they refine oil here, or oil to gas here. It's they put like a $1.25 tax on gas, so that's why it even makes it even higher. So, but I was getting gas for under $4 at two different places. It took me right on out of California into Oregon, where they got to be more sensible prices, except for in some of the cities, and I wouldn't get gas in those cities. So as I continue on here, I'm just walking around. I'm really just showing you guys the downtown for you, and people that are interested in going and visiting this area. In this area, there's a lot to do. You don't just have to go to Eureka. You got Bayside. You got Arcata. You got all the Land of the Giants and the all the Redwoods and all this good stuff to go check out here. They have all types of festivals. It gets sunny and beautiful here as well. It gets they have the Samoa Dunes rec area here. Lots of outdoor stuff. There's a skywalk at that park, that Sequoia Park Zoo too as well. So don't think there's not a lot to do here. There's a lot of stuff. And I'm willing to bet people in these areas are a lot more outdoorsy than a lot of other areas. As you know, I live in Colorado. I'm from Southern California, but I live in Colorado, and I've been here 20 plus years, probably closer to 30 actually now. Yikes. 20 some still. But you got to think of it as, in Colorado, there's a lot to do. We do a lot of outdoor stuff. Certain parts of California, people do outdoor stuff. Certain parts of California, people stay inside. But I believe this is more of an outdoorsy area just because they got a lot of stuff to do. This is also the largest coastal city from San Francisco to Portland, Oregon. It's larger than Coos Bay, even though they could kind of technically count Coos Bay with, I forget the other name of the town that's right there. And they could be one town, and they'd probably be the largest. But Coos Bay is like the second largest in Oregon. And that's in Oregon, excuse me. So this is a vibrant city. There's lots of places to get food and stuff. Do not fall for tourist traps. You don't have to. Just check around, and you can see all types of, you can get food and stuff for pretty cheap. So anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope this gives you an idea of Eureka. You can check other people's videos out, but I'm just going to give you the honest truth on things and what I see. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Comfortability, I felt great. It was good. Smelled good. Looked good. Had its issues, of course. It's California. As a native, it's California. Anyway, go check it out. Have fun. Go explore. Don't listen to people talk you out of doing things until you actually do it yourself, and you can make your own decision on if you like or don't like a place. Have a good day, everyone. Frugal Panda out.